It's such a thriller. You can't quite believe that these things happen. What have you done?
Legends is based on a true story of an operation run by Customs in the 1990s that helped bring down one of the biggest authors of heroin into the UK. The people who went undercover were not MI5, they were not police officers, and they were, if you like, amateur. And that makes it a kind of a unique story, because these people who go undercover were originally doing more sort of humdrum roles of checking people's bags for Customs or desk jobs. And so it transformed their lives.
I will let you two gentlemen talk.
Thank you. We're shooting a scene based at Milonas's house, where he's brought Guy along and offered him food, but really he's brought him there to protect him from what's going on the street. But Guy doesn't know that, and he finds out something that he's not happy about.
This is a scene with my husband, and who's played by Gerald Kidd, really introducing the character of Zara. This is the first time we see her is actually in this scene today.
It's a very fun part of the story. Milonos is a real wild card, and Guy really struggles with the anarchy of him.
Well, it's all inspired by true events, but then you have a job to do as a writer to clean it up and make it cohesive and make it all hold together. And real life's very messy. Part of the creative license process is just making the thing make sense and hold together over 6 hours of television. So it's doing a huge amount of research, as always, knowing the truth, and then finding a way to dramatise it in a really engaging way that stays true to the essence of the story.
I hadn't heard of the story before. My initial reaction was one of wonder. I was very, very excited by the story. I loved the accessibility to the characters, and also the fact that they were characters that weren't known. And I think it's nice that we're kind of, in a way, giving a voice to the voiceless.
What drew me to this character when I read the script first is she's an incredible, incredible woman. Like, she's a badass. Usually women are written in a certain way. I felt this one was completely whole, is the word I would use. Yeah, she's incredible.
It's been a secret thing for so long, and I wasn't familiar with the book. I mean, there's a lot of shows that are, broadly speaking, of this kind of genre, but you don't always see as much of the real people that this is actually happening to.
I was very involved in the casting process. 80% of the director's job is done when it's cast, but I think a lot of it is true. You read a script and you kind of find the spirit of the character more than the performance, and then when you cast, you're finding that spirit, so that when that actor comes to set or to rehearsals, they're bringing a lot of their past lives, their experiences, and they can feed that through the character to create one.
I've played lots of different characters in my career. What was nice about this one was that I was able to play it as a kind of Mancunian. I'm from Manchester. I was able to talk to Neil Forsyth, the writer, about how I can use some of sort of colloquialisms and characteristics of straight-talking Northerners, if you like, and put it into the characters.
I've worked on all kinds of things where sometimes it's improvised dialogue, but you're kind of sculpting away at it each take so that it has more and more specificity. And Neil is very much like it's this word and no other, but you completely understand why.
The lines are the lines, which I love. Every word he has considered, every line has been considered. That's fantastic to work with someone like that.
Between him and the director, they've got a very sort of clear vision of what they want. So I'm here to help him realise his vision. But early on, when I wanted to sort of tweak some of the lines before we started, to, if you like, colloquialise it, make it closer, feel closer to home for me, he was quite open to that, so it feels collaborative.
A director's responsibility is how to take the words from the page and translate them and elicit feelings within an audience. And I think kind of knowing what Neil wanted and then trying to translate that the best way I can was the main collaboration. I have a small family who have collaborated with me on the past 3 or 4 jobs now, and we're all very smart people who give me lovely opinions on scripts, and my job, I guess, is in a way to almost be a filter from great ideas and just make sure they fit the tone of what I want this show to be.
So our scene now, it's the background of our actress. She's from Afghanistan. So if you see also in the set, we have Afghan details, and the husband is Greek, so we have Greek details. They're all mixed up on the set. We set up this, but the scene is going to be the end of the supper. So when the standbys are coming here, we are going to distress all the food. We are going to put some leftovers on the tables, but we need to start from the beginning. So we have everything clean, everything spotless, and then we mess up all the scene.
Standby props is an arm of the props department, and it's people who are actually on the floor on set day to day. There's a lot of people within the prop department, set dressers, buyers, painters. I'm part of the branch that's on set on the day to day, during the filming, distributing props, etc, etc.
We're actually working in a house, so yeah, you kind of get a feel for where things are, where you get, you touch things, feel what, as you would in your normal life, so that you familiarize yourself with the terrain, so that you don't look like you're an alien in your own space. The set designer and the decorators and the props and everyone, they create this real kind of really incredible world.
With construction and the painters and set deck and props, they took 3-4 days, because first we need to remove everything, then the painters are coming, the construction are coming. So this is a fake wall. Same with the tiles, the construction put all the tiles on the wall. We come in and we start to block. Block we call to put the big furnitures in, and we are happy with that. We start to put all the small, all the details, all the props, all the bottles, everything, like to start to give life to the set and layers. It's not just a tablecloth with a dish, it's a tablecloth. We have this on top of this. So we start to create layers, all that things, we need to put it here in order to look real. If not, it's going to look like fake, like, oh, what is this?
Being in a house that's not built to be shot in, you have very small corridors, you have all this kit that you're trying to get in, you have so many people that need to do their specific jobs and they're all trying to do it at once. It's a lot when a house is small or something like that. If it's like a set build, then it's in your head that you're going to have to get kit in, you're going to have to get people in. But yeah, I think that would be a challenge for the day.
We have a person who did this. It's called home economist. They have all their certificate, they do everything. We ask if there is any intolerance with the casting. It's real, but it's fake. It's not everything like the real process if you are going to have this stew. Because now, for us, it's visually. It's not tasty in our film, in the film industry. There is nothing like it's going to be raw or it's going to be bad in a couple of hours.
I mean, creating the 90s again was fun, and mainly because I kind of remember it. It was lovely to kind of go through the design with James and Falia and kind of start to build this world. And yeah, very exciting. I still get excited when I see a Lucasade bottle on the set.
We're currently in the standby prop van, which is quite busy. We've got a tea and coffee box, we've got a car kit, I've got drinks boxes, which I have used today actually to make up some white wine, which is just grape juice and a bit of water. So these are typically the cigarettes that we use. I think it's used throughout the industry, honey rose. And I think it's like marshmallow leaf and some other, non-nicotine. But we've been given our own graphic cigarette boxes. All the graphics on this job have been really cool. Little things like that just make it a bit more believable. Woolworths, for anyone who remembers. Old Wheater Flakes. Literally, you name it, I probably got it.
For some people on set, the 90s are a distant memory. For me, it's like yesterday. And I do remember some of this being in the news about this huge drugs bust and it being a big problem. Yeah, all the departments here are really tenacious, and they've recreated the period really well.
Whenever I'm writing something in the period, I'll watch a lot of documentaries from that period. Once we hear normal people talking, I think that's brilliant for hearing voices and phraseologies and things like that. So it's always good to kind of set the scene. I listen to a lot of music when I write, from the periods as well, which is very helpful. And then once you get designers involved, they always have some really interesting mood boards, which often can affect stories. So definitely immerse yourself in the period you're writing.
You think of the late 90s, maybe a bit more excitement, but this period you think it's a bit sort of like trundling along and kind of everything seems a bit downbeat. And then you chuck this incredible, exciting, nail-biting story into that. I think that's what makes it such an interesting thing.
So this is paraphernalia, some old sort of pills, more pills, a small bag of heroin, because obviously these are quite, big cells, would go for quite a lot of money in the real world. So whenever we've needed to do small scenes of drug deals happening on a street corner and stuff, we get some of this, wrap it in some cling film, make something about that big. Pretty sure that's meant to be marijuana. There you go. The Baroccas, I'm not too sure. I've never taken out a Barocca. They might just be there for health. I think it's simply just because they, again, look like a tablet, and you can crush them up and make a powder out of them. It's good for, you know, lines of cocaine. We've also got these, which are known as wraps, I believe. And basically they're small little just pieces of magazine that apparently people in the 90s used to carry their cocaine and stuff around in.
You might not realize it's like just how much goes into making something like that, like how many people in the different departments, and especially because this is a period thing, it's the 90s, when we're on a main road like central London, you have people dressed in normal everyday clothes for 2025, and so we have to like lock off and make sure that nobody gets in there. You can't see any cars, you can't see any people, because it kind of just ruins the shot.
It's like if you're doing 3 different locations in a day, which often they're doing on this, it's not just you quickly go from one location to the other. You have to move an entire town basically to the new location in order to continue. So it has to run like clockwork, and everyone has to be so good at their jobs, which they are.
I think Legends is special because it's based on a true story. I think every director, when they read scripts and decide what stories they want to tell, have to find a kind of personal connection. And being from a working class background, I found this very interesting to kind of meet ordinary characters and put them in extraordinary circumstances.
It has substance, it's about something real. These people are embarking on a sort of dangerous, potentially life-threatening operation, but throughout that there's a kind of gallows humour.
Quite often when I describe the plot to people, I go, is it a comedy? And I said, no, it's not a comedy, but I think it does have nice moments of sort of whimsy, but it's all very much to do with who these people are and where they're from, and they're in a very new environment.
When I read the script, I did not believe the story. I was on the edge of my seat just reading the script. So I could start to visualize what it would look like on camera, and I mean, it's going to be the most exciting series when it comes out.